We are going to find out how many Potterheads we have on this channel. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, and we have Hogwarts Legacy 2 news. The sequel to the RPG that, honestly, I would say captivated a lot of us. We're going to talk about the official updates, some really wild leaks, and even a speculative bombshell about what and who we might actually see in the next game. Trust me, you guys want to stick around later in the video because I'm going to dive into a potential crossover that could let us witness one of the most iconic events in, honestly, wizarding history. Something that could change how we experience the wizarding world in-game. Drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, turn on those notifications, and let's start off with Warner Brothers. Well, Warner Brothers Games specifically, and they basically put Harry Potter front and center. Recently, in an article in Variety and echoed by Game Informer, they revealed that WB Games has restructured its studios into 4 franchise divisions. You have Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, and DC. Now, this means there is now a dedicated division just for Harry Potter games. And Hogwarts Legacy's developer Avalanche Software is hard at work on the next Hogwarts Legacy title. In fact, the sequel, it's already in development. It's real. It's considered a big priority for the company. Now, if you guys played Hogwarts Legacy, let me know in the comments. If you're excited for part 2, I would like to know that as well. I read every single comment on every single video. So why is WP so keen on more Hogwarts Legacy? Well, the first game, I would call it a blockbuster. Best-selling game of 2023 in both the US and worldwide. It proved that fans crave more Wizarding World content all the time. I mean, and they crave it more than just beyond mobile games and the old movie tie-ins. WB Games president at the time, David Hadid, even acknowledged that Hogwarts Legacy unlocked something special. It sparked a push to build authentic experiences to delight Harry Potter fans. So with this new WB game structure, they're effectively saying, okay, team, focus on Harry Potter and give the fans what they want. Now, for us gamers, fans, that's good news. It suggests that WB is fully committed to Hogwarts Legacy 2 and possibly other Wizarding World games. It gives Avalanche the resources and hopefully the creative freedom to make the sequel even better. That long drought of big Harry Potter games, remember those years with only mobile ones? It may be over. I mean, we're looking at a future where Hogwarts Legacy 2 is the crown jewel of the whole Harry Potter games lineup. I mean, the studio's been quietly staffing up for a high-profile AAA title, and all signs point to that's for Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now, let's switch gears and let's talk about some corporate shakeup things here. There's a rumor floating around that Sony, yes, the PlayStation people, they're interested in buying Warner Brothers Discovery's gaming division and all of their IPs. That would include Harry Potter. Now, according to reports, originally from SE Scoops, a source known for more wrestling news, interestingly, it's kind of odd, but okay, Sony has been exploring an acquisition of WBD streaming and studios. Basically, the part of WB that covers HBO streaming, movie studios, and the games division. Now, this rumor gained traction right after WB Discovery announced it would split into 2 companies by mid-2026, one for the networks and one for the streaming and studios, the games. So if Sony were to grab that streaming and studios entity, they would suddenly own massive franchises. I mean, they would have DC, they would have Game of Thrones, they would have Harry Potter all locked down in the gaming space. From Sony's perspective, that's massive. Imagine, PlayStation exclusive rights, even if it's just timed, to games in those universes. It would bolster their streaming, HBO content on PlayStation, that could be a thing. Their game lineup immensely. They've already tasted success. They had Hogwarts Legacy on PS5. And here's a fun fact. The most viewed game trailer on the official PlayStation YouTube channel right now is actually Hogwarts Legacy's trailer. Shows just how hyped PlayStation players were. Plus, Sony saw how well The Last of Us HBO show did for their brand synergy. It was a hit on HBO. Even if it was divisive, it still pulled numbers. So owning Harry Potter content could let them replicate that success on both TV and console. Now, before we get carried away, that's a rumor. Even insiders say nothing could happen until after WB's corporate split 2026. And then there's debate on whether WB really wants to sell their crown jewel franchise. I mean, if the price tag's right, I guess. It's just something to keep an eye on. If there is a big if, and Sony did buy the rights, it raised the question for players, could Hogwarts Legacy 2 become a PlayStation exclusive? I hope not. I really do. Remember, the first game already had a PlayStation exclusive mission, the Haunted Hogsmeade Shop Quest, which that caused a lot of FOMO on the other platforms. Sony owning the whole franchise means they could get back into those exclusivity shenanigans, which I don't think they need to do. Don't lock it. It's too big. Harry Potter DC, Game of Thrones, they're too big to lock to one platform. Now, let's talk about the Wizarding World itself here. Here's where things get interesting. We know there's a big budget Harry Potter TV series in the work at HBO. We got all the castings. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of those castings. They're rebooting the books as a decade-long series. And what's wild is that Hogwarts Legacy 2 will connect with that show's storyline in some way. This was confirmed by WB's David Hadid himself in a Variety interview. The game dev team has been coordinating some big picture storytelling elements with the HBO series writers. In other words, they're ensuring the sequel's plot meshes with things that play out on TV. Now, they haven't told us exactly how the crossover is going to work. There's no real big details, but naturally, people are talking, buzzing about it. There's theories. One possibility is that Hogwarts Legacy 2, well, it might jump forward in time closer to the era of the books and the TV show. So the first game was set in the 1890s. It was about a century before Harry's time. Maybe the sequel features a new protagonist attending Hogwarts in, let's say, the 1940s or even the 1970s. Some era that could tie into events or characters that we know from the actual Potter saga. There's even speculation we could encounter younger versions of iconic characters or their family members. So imagine a game where you're at Hogwarts while Tom Riddle, future Voldemort, is a student. And then you witness the Chamber of Secrets opening for the very first time. That's actually been floated as a dream scenario. You could be investigating mysterious petrifications on campus alongside or parallel to Tom Riddle's story. That would line up neatly if the HBO show season 2 covered the Chamber of Secrets, which it's supposed to go through the books. So that could be a thing. There's another theory that I actually really like. Setting the game during Voldemort's first rise to power, the first Wizarding War in the 1970s. Now that could involve the original Order of the Phoenix, maybe even working with a young Dumbledore and eventually witnessing Voldemort's attack on the Potter family. That would be pretty insane if the final mission of HL2 has your character present in some way on that fateful Halloween 1981 night when baby Harry survives Voldemort. I know that's super ambitious and speculative, but the idea, that's pretty cool. It would bridge the gap right into the TV series, which will in later seasons, of course, cover those events from the books. Now, I know what you're thinking here. Wait, I want my Hogwarts Legacy story continued, not a huge time skip. And I know, you're not alone. A lot of fans do want a direct sequel set shortly after the first game, basically year 6 for our 1890s custom character with all our favorite classmates returning. Now, that is a possibility. The tie-in could be way more subtle than I just said before. Perhaps some plot element in the 1800s that foreshadows a modern story rather than literally jumping to modern times. For example, maybe your 1890s character uncovers an artifact or a prophecy that later shows up in the HBO story. I don't know. There's ways to connect the dots without abandoning the setting of the first game. But me personally, I like all the theories and ideas that I just went over. That would be absolutely wild. But at this point, we're literally flying blind. Avalanche is keeping secrets. They're keeping them. We're going to have to wait for a reveal trailer to truly know the era and the premise of the game. Now, I suspect once that first teaser drops, we'll instantly tell if we're still in the 19th century or if we've jumped to the 20th. The visuals or the narrator, they're all going to clue us in. It's been nearly 50 years since or something like that. That's an example. Either way, the fact they're coordinating with the show means it's going to be ambitious. They are aiming for a connected experience across game and TV, and this could be just the beginnings. Now, I teased a big leak at the beginning of the video, something that might change how we play Hogwarts Legacy 2. So according to some recent job listings, Avalanche Software could be taking the sequel in a new direction with the gameplay. We're talking online multiplayer elements, possibly even a live service free-to-play model, and I know, that caught me off guard too when I read it. So here's the talk. Avalanche and WB posted ads for roles like design director, systems designer, that specifically mention an online multiplayer RPG and experience with live service games, in-game economies, monetization, all of it. One listing even wants a writer skilled in branching narratives with a deep knowledge of the wizarding world. Come on, put those clues together, right? Fans are saying Hogwarts Legacy 2 may have co-op or multiplayer features and a story that can be branch-based on your choices. The rumor goes as far to suggest the sequel could be free to play with ongoing content updates, which would be a major shift from the purely single-player premium game we got in HL1. Think Destiny in the Harry Potter world. Now, none of that is officially confirmed, but it's possible these job listings for a different Wizarding World project. But given the timing, and it's the same team that made HL, it fits the idea that HL2 may be more social and replayable. I mean, I guess it makes sense. WB might want to tap into the live service trend. Imagine Hogwarts is a continuously expanding world, new quests, seasons dropping. You hop in with friends to duel in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, maybe Quidditch matches together. I mean, a lot of us were dreaming of multiplayer in HL1. I mean, who wouldn't want to explore Hogwarts open-ended, right? There's even a mod out there on PC for co-op. So I see the appeal, but I have a feeling a lot of you are going to be very, very tentative about that in the comments. I mean, that said, free-to-play? That'd be a huge change. Free-to-play often means microtransactions, lots of them, cosmetics, paywalled content. As a fan, I would be cautious. Everybody liked HL for its immersive single-player experience. Nobody asked for a Wizarding World MMO with microtransactions, but the optional cosmetic purchases. I wouldn't mind buying like cool cloaks or broom skins if the base game is free, but it needs to make sense. The key here is they must not sacrifice story depth and quality, and a lot of games and developers and publishers end up doing that. So for now, we'll just treat it as a rumor, but it's definitely going to be significant if it ends up being true. Now let's talk about the huge question. When are we getting Hogwarts Legacy 2? When might it arrive? Officially, there's no release date, of course, but we can guesstimate. That's what we do on this channel based on the information we have. First game came out in early 2023. The sequel entered development likely sometime in 2023, and by late 2024, WB was openly talking about it in the works. Now, a lot of reports and analysts are thinking late 2026 or 2027 is a realistic window for release. In fact, one insider piece noted that with the new HBO series expected in 2026, well, that might be where Hogwarts Legacy 2 drops after Season 1, possibly early spring 2027 to capitalize on the renewed Harry Potter hype. That would be a 4-year gap after the first game, which to me is pretty reasonable, pretty respectable for a huge AAA sequel, especially since it's going to be on a new engine. And talking about that, it's going to be built on the Unreal Engine 5, whereas the first was on Unreal 4. That can mean even better graphics and detail. I mean, imagine Hogwarts and Hogsmeade with next-gen lighting and physics, but it also means development might need extra time to adapt to that new tech. Avalanche is a very talented team. I'm sure they want to let it cook properly, which they should. Remember, one reason the first game shined was that WB gave them the time and freedom to polish it. It was delayed a couple times to get it right. So I'm hoping the suits and the higher-ups do the same thing, even though they're clearly eager to get a sequel out to ride that hype train, I understand, but it needs to be done right, and it is it's a top priority for WB. We know that. Now, by the time it launches, we'll be deep into the PS5 Xbox Series generation. We're already talking about PS6 and the new Xbox Prime by 2027 or 2028, so don't expect the sequel to support last-gen consoles. PS4 and Xbox One, they're going to be gone. I mean, the rumor has it they're going to drop old consoles altogether, which makes sense because the first game barely squeezed onto Switch and older hardware. In a more advanced sequel, it's going to need a lot of horsepower. So, sorry about that. Now, let's summarize the important stuff here. It's a lot. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is happening. It's confirmed. It's currently in development at Avalanche, with Warner Brothers restructuring its game studios to put extra focus on the Harry Potter franchise, which is a good thing. The sequel story will have connections to the upcoming HBO Harry Potter series, meaning we might see some canon crossing elements or time jumps to sync up with the TV reboot. We also talked about theories, possibly encountering Tom Riddle at Hogwarts, maybe experiencing the first Wizarding War era. Nothing confirmed, but it would be cool. Sony, they're trying to buy WB, it looks like. I don't know if that's a good move. I don't really want that to happen. I think that just convolutes things. That's me personally. But the overall takeaway is that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is shaping up to be an even bigger, better game than the first one. You guys let me know what you think. If anything new breaks, I'll keep you covered, and I'll see you soon.